how to try them.
Yeah, I called that a bit early. Crocombe. And again, balls, and clipped on the leg side, and that could well be 4 runs. It is 4 runs. That's a lovely looking shot by Milan. Slightly over pitch by Henry Crocombe, and he clipped it away just like the despairing dive of Hudson Prentice in front of the Spenkarma Pavilion. Milan goes to 10, 114 for 3. I'm sure though that Middlesex would have been doing the sums and they're looking at those other scores. I mean, they can't rely on results elsewhere going their way, but maybe it's a bit of an insurance in there, thinking, well, if they do go our way, Crocombe in bowls, and Milan clips this back crit of square. Hudson Prentice comes in and fields.
If they do go our way, we've got to get more than 128.
Yeah, and they're nearly there. 115 for 3. I wonder if they might be thinking that. We get to 128, then we just go for it.
Yeah, I mean...
But that assumes that Leicestershire and... if one of Leicestershire and Warwickshire win, yeah, they're going to have to go for it anyway, so... It's all fairly ifs, buts and maybes. Leicestershire recovered a bit, actually. I'll give the updated scores in a minute. In comes Crocombe, bowls. Forward comes Cracknell, who's played very nicely. Plays it down the track. Crocombe thought of his own bowling. There is no run. So Leicestershire are 100 for 6 in the 25th over, which is a recovery. At one stage, they were 60 for 6. So a partnership between Aaron Lilly and Rishi Patel has added 40. Patel's on 28, Lilly on 29. It's Crocombe over the wicket. Bowls, pull the to the leg side down. Is this going to be out? No, it isn't. It just stopped short of Tom Clark. Not timed at all by Joe Cracknell. He picks up a single at the end of Henry Crocombe's over and over, in which Crocombe conceded 5 runs. And Middlesex at the end of that are 116 for 3. 20 overs gone. After 20 overs, Dave, Sussex were 110 for 2.
Yeah, so I think that just indicates the importance of keeping wickets in hand and building partnerships. At that stage, the Sussex innings, they were bogged down as well. Because they a very good spell from Walala Wita, who conceded 32 runs, I think, in his turnover.
Yeah,
very tidily.
And actually, Dave, between overs 20 and 30, Sussex scored 41.
Yes.
And that, because Luke Holman started off bowling very well. He went a bit round the park later on, Holman, 8 overs for 60. But really it was the seamers who had a tough time. Martin Anderson, 9 overs for 110. And Max Harris, 10 overs. He picked up 3 wickets, but 3 for 98. Now we're going to get some spin. And it's going to be Delray Rawlings who's going to come into the attack from this. Would you like to do the honours, Dave?
If you like. Quite happy to do that, Adrian. Oh, look and listen to the lovely seagulls. I'm glad I've managed to work a trip to Hove on my summer of travelling around the country. Rawlings left arm round with a spinner in place. That was skids through, keeps it a little bit low. It's played back to the Bermuda. He's got a couple of men saving one either side of the wicket, a slip, so now obviously the 4 out as he drops short there and just gets eased through the offside for 1, I think about a second. It's not to be.
And that's Harrison Ward who's on the field, so somebody is off for Sussex, and I'll try and pinpoint who that is in a moment.
Either that or they slipped a 12 field one, Adrian. They wouldn't do something like that, surely.
No, I don't think maybe. Let's just see if I can see who it is.
117 for 3. Sorry, I was just being naughty.
That's right.
Rawlings bowls and pitches that one up and well bowled, because what should we say, a swing and a miss there from Milan. He went for the expansive drive, but with a slip in place and the ball spinning, maybe a little bit injudicious. Bowls again shorter, and again ball just not bouncing at all, skidding through, played out to deep cover for a single. Crowd getting a bit raucous.
Yeah, they are. Poor old Tom himself. They're all singing to him. He's on the boundary. He's acknowledged it, Tom, but he doesn't want to get involved in banter.
Rawlings around the wicket again, and again just have a couple here, because it's a little bit wider of the substitute fielder, and there's 2 more runs for the Joe Cracknell. He moves to his 50, so 51 runs from 58 balls with 7 fours.
That's been a nice innings.
Rawlings bowls to him again, and that's eased pass through the onside for a single. Kev's going to go and get a nice cup of coffee with milk and no sugar, I think.
No, I'm fine with mine. I haven't finished mine other one up yet. So
no, he's going to get one from me.
Oh! Going off James Cracknell's going to get a change of gloves. I think he's batting nicely.
Tidy enough first over, wasn't it, for the Royals?
Yeah, he's had
It wasn't bouncing, Adrian, was skidding through, isn't it?
Yeah, he's had a really good competition, Darrell Rawlings. He was picked up in the 100 last year, didn't play very much, didn't get picked up this year, and he's a really good one-day cricketer. He's a cricketer who's first-class average. He's a better cricketer than he's shown in his first-class average, but around one-day cricket, he's excellent. Gets through his overs quickly, he's economic, can play big shots, and the other advantage is he's a brilliant fielder. So he's had a good competition. Now, this is interesting. Brad Curry back into the attack from the Cromwell Road end. His first spell, I'll tell you what his bowling figures were. But he's coming in to bowl to the right-handed Joe Cracknell, who's on 52. So Curry makes his way down the hill, bowls, and Cracknell drives, and that's a lovely looking shot, but he'll only get a signal because it's straight to Ali Orr, who's fielding in front of the clock tower scoreboard away to our right-hand side. Live cricket on the BBC Radio Sussex, BBC Radio London. Adrian Harms coming down to Dave Townsend, who's joined us as well. It was good to see Dave. He's on a visit home of the season. You picked probably, Dave, the most miserable day of the summer in terms of weather. But the forecast was good. I mean, the forecast that I saw is completely different to this. I thought it was meant to brighten up.
Just this heavy cloud, isn't it?
Yeah.
It just needs to be. Nothing to blow it away, Adrian. Nothing to blow it away, but always good to have a trip down here.
Curry's opening 5 overs, 1 for 28. He's in and bowls, and Milan drives down the ground. Curry fills up his own bowling, and there is no run. I was saying earlier on that the two Sussex opening bowlers in this game, Brad Curry and Ari Carvelos, made their Sussex debuts in the championship match at Lord's just a few weeks ago. The Sussex were just so depleted in the fast bowling department, and I think with due respect to both Bradley Curry and Ari Carvelos, nobody really knew much about them, but they've come and both done really, really well. They've been playing a bit of second 11 cricket. As in comes Curry, bowls, and Milan, that's a nice shot. Just steps back and cuts that one away through backward point for 4 runs, and even a fielder as good as Rawlings couldn't get near to that. Nice shot. He goes to 16. Middlesex to 126 for 3. Needing another 275 to win. It's a long, long way away, and they're going to need to score 9.7 and over. I thought well as Sussex batted, and Allsop and Bajaro excellent, I thought some of the Middlesex bowling was pretty ragged, David, at the end. I thought,
yes. So the outfield.
Particularly when Bajaro was smacking the ball onto the leg side. So it took a long time to arrest that income.
Yes, I think when you concede, what was it, 249 off the... Does say a fair bit about the bowling, I think. They've had a good tournament, Middlesex. Who's to say it'll finish?
Indeed. Indeed. Curry on his way around the wicket bowls, and Milan plays this nicely through the covers again. It's fielded by Orr in front of the scoreboard. 1 more to Milan. He goes to 17. Middlesex to 127 for 3.
Important moment at Grace Road, or whatever it's known as these days, with Rushworth back into the attack for Durham, but he hasn't taken any wickets in that over. So far, Rush's had 3 wickets, and McAlinden's had the other 3. So 118 now for 6 in the 28th over there.
Comes Curry, bowls, forward comes Cracknell, plays it back to Curry. Good tight over from Brad Curry. You can see just the 1 boundary, so 6 off of the over. 127 for 3, Milan 17, Cracknell on 53. You'd have thought that Leicestershire, provided they bat sensibly, there's no rush in terms of overs. They might get over the line.
Yeah, they need another, 80 runs. 80 runs to win from 22 overs, 4 wickets in hand, that's the problem.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
There's a cup of tea, not coffee's bought me, I don't know.
And the Rushworth coffee as well.
That's all right, I can drink it. No milk either.
Gary Knight's been in touch. Hello, Gary. I'll read your email at the end of this over from Delray Rawlins.
Rawlins bowls outside the off stump, just eased through the offside field for a single. Nice cup of tea, man. They look after you well here, Adrian.
They do. They're very good here at Sussex. They do look after us. There's some nice cake in there as well.
Ooh, we'll do a bit of that later on. Rawlins gives this one more air, and again, though, it's just eased through the offside, this time by Cracknell for 1 run. Oh, a bit of cake's come in, look. Look at that.
Oh, look at Kevin, yeah.
Oh, dear me.
They're pistachios on there, looks like it, doesn't it?
Bit of carrot cake. It's a very nice carrot cake you see in Brixton, actually. Lovely little coffee shop there. Rawlins quicker delivery, and that's played to backward point.
Not a very good throw by Brad Curry. I think he let that ball go inadvertently. The ball flew over the head of Carter. Fortunately, Coles was backing up.
Never going to be a run out, was it? But odd piece of fielding. Milan crouching in his stance, slipping in place. Rawlins quicker delivery. Attempts to swing that away. In fact, he'll be disappointed he missed out there because the ball's on the leg stump, and there's only a sort of backward square leg man on the 45 somewhere around the corner. Nobody out on the boundary if he got that away. There's 4 runs to be had. This time back to outside the off stump, and there's a chance of a run out, a shy of the stumps there. A bit of a misfield by Pajara, and he's picked the ball up and then shied at the stumps. The batsmen were doing a sort of shall we shan't we in the middle of the pitch, and they get over for 1 in the end.
Poor Tom Allsop, these guys are determined to get him to wave. He's given 1 little wave, they'll leave him alone, really.
Another delivery that's gone through outside the off stump, attempted chop shot by Cracknell. He hasn't made any contact. And that's the end of another tidy over. I'm really taken by the way the ball isn't bouncing for Rawlins. Every delivery is going through sort of barely sort of mid-stump, isn't it?
We're going to get
scooting through.
We're going to get spin from both ends because we're going to see James Coles, the young 18-year-old left-arm spinner's going to come into the attack. Gary Knight's been in touch from Walsham. Hello, Gary. He says, hi, Adrian. Good afternoon from a very dejected Hammers fan. He's a big West Ham United fan, not helped by the fact that Brighton beat them at the weekend, but we'll gloss over that, Gary. He says, happily my mood's been lifted by another superb Sussex batting display. The performances in this competition have been excellent and have provided some much-needed positivity for supporters. The possibility of a home semi-final is enticing, particularly with our record at home being so strong. Even more tempting is a trip to Trentbridge on the final on the 17th of September, but I mustn't get carried away. He says, fingers crossed we can close this game out and look forward to next week's semi-final. Kind regards, Gary. Gary, thanks for getting in touch. Lovely to hear from you. I don't know if you're at the ground or maybe watching on the live stream. I know there were a few technical issues earlier on today, but happily the lads who worked really hard here at Sussex to get the stream up and running have got those sorted. As in comes Coles and bowls to Milan. That's a wayward first delivery, too much width outside the off stump, and Milan says thanks very much and cuts that one away through the covers for 4 runs. The total goes to 134 for 3. This partnership now with 45 between these two.
Just ticking over, isn't it? Sorry,
47 between these two. I apologise.
Building a platform.
Coles in again, bowl. Milan's hit on the pad, playing across the line. The ball bounces away on the offside. There is no run. Just as a guide, at 25 overs, Sussex were 127 for 2. 24th over, so Middlesex ahead on runs as Coles is in, pulled away to the leg side, and that's going to go for 4 runs. So already 8 runs coming in the over. Middlesex needed to score at 10 and over, and there's 8 off the first 3 balls. Milan goes to 27, the total to 138 for 3.
They're going to need 3 or 4 really big overs, as we saw.
Yeah.
Sussex innings, you know, those 22 runs, 19 runs,
yeah.
Big overs, that can make a big difference all of a sudden here. If you suddenly saw, you know, 1 over disappear for 22, another disappear for 20, and Middlesex is suddenly up to 180 for 3, and you think, ooh, hold on, that's halfway, that's a very good chance. But
what's the delay here? The
got to score those overs.
Yeah, that makes all the difference. There was a change in the book. The umpires were both looking towards the scorers. I'm not too sure why. Anyway, it's very gloomy here. Floodlights are shining brightly. Carter wants Henry Crocombe to go a lot fine over it. Backward square leg. In comes Coles, bowls, and Milan hits straight to Rawlings, and that's the catch. He's such a good fielder, Delray Rawlings. Clipped away by Coles. Rawlings takes the catch two-handed above his head, and Milan, having just threatened with 2 boundaries and an over, he's on his way. He's on his way for 27, and Middlesex 138 for 4.
Yes, he just didn't clear him, did he? He needed to get that ball over the top of mid-wicket, and another couple of feet higher, it would have been away for a 3rd boundary in the over, but that's the end of Milan, and another very important wicket from Sussex. And you can see what this means for the Sussex players. They're really up for this, looking for the home semi-final next week here, and that'll be a great occasion at Hove as well.
It was interesting because down at Taunton on whatever day it was, I lose track of time, on Friday, Somerset had a lot of players in their side who hadn't played an awful lot of first team cricket, but one of the advantages Sussex have got in this competition is that I think every single one of these Sussex players today have played county championship cricket this season. So, you know, they haven't had a great county championship season, but they've all sort of experienced the highs and lows of the 4-day game, and they're gaining experience. And I think that was important on Friday and important in a lot of the games. So the new man coming in is going to be Max Holden, so they do bat a long way down. Kieran was saying this. So Middlesex won't be giving up this just yet. Quick look at the other games. Leicestershire now 134 for 6, so needing 64 to win in 21 overs. And Warwickshire have recovered a bit as well. They're 153 for 4, needing 114 to win in 16 overs. In the other group, Kent 152 for 4, needing 144 in 24 overs.
Good little stand going on there between Blake and Stevens.
I think Yorkshire have their work out at Scarborough, 157 for 6. You were up at Scarborough, I heard your dulcet tones on the radio. Was that the Hampshire game you were at?
Yeah, I did the Hampshire Championship game, which was, as ever, a great 4 days. Lovely part of the world, isn't it? And I was back up there last week, was it? On the 7th, so a couple of weeks ago, with Dave Bradley and Jonathan Doidge doing the 50 over game for in this competition, with Yorkshire playing Worcestershire. Also did a couple of games at York, which is another fabulous ground.
Here comes Coles. Comes in bowls to the new man, who is Holden, who meets the first ball, plays it down the onside of the track, footed by Coles. There is no run. He's sort of is it out of the city a little bit, the ground, or is it right in the middle of town?
Scarborough?
No, York.
Oh, York, it's, what is it, sort of...
Coles is in bowls, and Holden's on his way. He plays it through the covers. In fact, there's going to be more than one here. Hudson Prentice is very quickly round, but there's a comfortable couple of runs for Holden. And that is the end of the over. So 10 runs off of the overs. That's what Middlesex needed, but they have lost the wicket of Milan, who was caught by Rawlings for 27.
Yes, it is. It's just a little way out of town. I actually stayed on York Racecourse.
Did you?
They have a stable side, and it is a very
nice,
simple little hotel where it's one of those where you have a small room and you share a bathroom, that sort of setup. I think the jockeys or whatever the stable lads tend to stay there, whatever. Very, very comfortable spot to stay.
That's worth knowing.
Yeah, and a very reasonable priced hotel rooms, Adrian. So Rawlings back on after taking the catch in that last over. Ball to Cracknell. Cracknell wants 2. He's coming back for 2. Well, that's a cheeky run in that, because the ball is in the fielder's hands, but the throws come in, and 2 runs to be had. So I think we'll see some fast running here between Holden and Cracknell. Cracknell on to 56. 147 for 4. Pitched up, and he's swung that one away nicely, and that's going to be 4 runs. So if you can beat that man on the 45, behind square on the leg side, then you've got a boundary, and
I think that was
very nicely hit shot, actually.
Yeah, I think it was the best bit of fielding by Eric Carvalhos, and Pajara sort of shook his head. It was hit very firmly, but Carvalhos got down to it, but not quickly enough. It's gone away for 4 runs. So good start to this over. Middlesex then score 10 and over. They've got 6 off the first 2 balls.
Still a very long way away.
It is.
Always bowls, that one spins past the edge, just Cracknell pushes at it. Coming up to the halfway mark of the innings.
Yeah, so halfway mark, Sussex 127 for 2.
Yeah. Rawlins gives that one a bit of air and it's dug out. Almost turned it into a Yorker. Dug out to extra cover. No run. So again, gives that one some air and a nut. I thought that was a very nice shot from him. Well, it wasn't a shot, but I thought he just placed it over extra cover. In actual fact, he just placed it out to cover for the 1 run.
I'm with you as well. I thought that was going to race away for 4 runs.
He just sort of eased it over the head of short extra. Anyway, the left-handed Max Holden on strike now. 1 and 4 at 7 for 4. So Middlesex very nearly 5 overs ahead of where Sussex were at the same stage, because Sussex were what, 150, 151 while they at the 30 over mark. And, Holden just plays that one wide. He's coming back for a cheeky second again. Oh my word. If that ball had struck Adrian, I think we might have been looking at, was that Hudson Prentice?
Yes, it was.
Since the throw skidding in. But, a very well run 2 in the end. So Cracknell would have been struggling, I think. So you get 149 for 4 at the halfway stage, 252 to win off 25 overs. So near as damn it, 10 runs per over.
Yeah, so at the same stage, Sussex, as we say, 127 for 2 compared to 149 for 4. It's going to be James Coles who's going to carry on. He's just bowled a 1 over so far, in which he picked up the wicket of Milan. Went for 10 runs in the over. Cracknell takes off his helmet and puts it back on again. He's surveying that leg side boundary. Where there are 3 men patrolling? No, just the 2 men on that leg side boundary. In comes Coles and bowls, and Cracknell cuts that one out. It's going to be 4 runs. That's a lovely shot. I've been impressed here by Joe Cracknell. It was wide off the off stump. He just leant back and cut the ball away through backward point for 4 runs. And here at Hove, the ball really skips away down the hill. No point chasing that. 4 to Cracknell. He goes to 65. Middlesex to 153 for 4. Gone from 14. It is. I mean, one of the bowlers is going to have to go for a few here for Middlesex to get close.
I think 2 or 3 of them are going to have to go for a few.
Yeah. Coles in again, bowls and swept by Cracknell. He gets a single.
Disappointed with that,
yeah, I agree, because Henry Crocombe was up inside the circle at short fine leg, and a yard either side, and that could have been another boundary. Cracknell goes to 66, Middlesex 154 for 4, which brings the left-handed Holden on the strike. What's Sussex going to do here? They've got 3 men on that leg side boundary. There's a long on, a deep mid-wicket, and a deep backward square. 2 men on the single on the leg side, as in comes Coles and bowls, and Holden drives without timing to short extra, fielded by Rawlins, and there is no run. Coles and Rawlins do get through their overs very quickly. Zilligan and bowls, and Holden plays this to mid-wicket, fielded by Pujara, who gets in the throw. A good bit of fielding by Pujara, but Coles took the ball, whipped off the bails, but Holden was safely home to pick up his 5th run. Total goes to 155 for 4. 246 more runs needed. It's a lot of runs, but you just never know in this game. Coles again, around the wicket, bowls, and Cracknell plays firmly through the offside, picks up a single to the sweeper on the cover boundary, who is Ali Orr. That's 7 off the over. 1 more ball to go.
Yeah, since he's got in, Cracknell's looked very good, hasn't he? He's a bit scratchy for the first 15 balls or so.
Coles again. The wicket, bowls, and Hull pulls this one away. That's going to go all the way for 6 runs. Driven away, nearly hit someone out on that leg side. That's an expensive over. An over that cost 13 runs to Sussex, holding those to 11. Middlesex to 162 for 4. And the required run rate goes back to exactly 10.
Yeah, so 10 runs and over for 24 overs is a very, very big ask.
But at 30 overs, Sussex were 151 for 4.
Yeah, so they're
way ahead in terms of runs scored. It's the wickets that are the problem. But as this innings develops, Middlesex will know the results coming in from the other games, and they might well reach the stage where they think, well, it's do or die here. We either go for it or we're going to get knocked out. And if those other results go against,
Sussex can still be knocked out.
Yes, they can.
This is
Sussex can be knocked out. If Middlesex win this game and Leicestershire and Warwickshire win, Sussex will be knocked out.
Yeah.
There's still much to play for here. It's not a done job. I know 404 is a great total, and it's still an awful lot of runs for Middlesex to get, but they're not out of it.
It looks as though Warwickshire is slowly building towards their total as well at Edgbaston.
Yeah, and Leicestershire as well.
Rawlins bowls, and that's swept away nicely for 4 by Cracknell. Just again picked that on length and just eased it past the man in up at 45. So score ticking over. What's been noticeable in this innings though is that over time Middlesex have just built up a bit of momentum. The wicket has fallen.
Yes, yes, you're right.
Rawlins bowls, and that's down the ground, that's it up in the air, and a wicket is fallen. That is the end of Cracknell. Ball skied in the air to mid-on. Tom Alsop,
Yeah.
the hero of the crowd today, the man who scored 189 not out. I should remember his number from when he was batting. So that is the end of Cracknell. 166 now for 5.
He didn't look like he panicked at all under that, did he, Tom Alsop? He just took his time. I wondered if for a moment whether he was going to get there, but good innings by Joe Cracknell, 71 off 73 balls, including 10 falls. He's done his bit, and he's been undone, and the new man coming in is Martin Anderson.
This looks like Luke Coleman.
Okay, who can hit a long ball. I'm just bringing you up to date in those other games, because it is important what happens in those other matches. Leicestershire are 147 for 6. They need 51 in 17.5 overs, so the run rate isn't a problem. It's about whether Durham can take the wickets. And at Edgbaston, Warwickshire are 172 for 4. They need 95 in 13 overs, so that looks less sort of nailed on for Warwickshire. So it looks as if, well, we don't know, but earlier on it looked as if both Warwickshire and Leicestershire were going to lose, but as it stands at the moment, maybe they're marginal favourites in both games.
And they will then qualify along with the winners of this.
Yes. And Kent have lost a wicket at Canterbury. They're 161 for 5. They need 135 in 21.3 overs. I think if they were to win that, they might sneak in ahead of Glamorgan, I think.
They would do, yes.
Yes.
Stevens has gone for 49. First ball there for Holman, who's just played into the offside. No run. Middlesex need a big partnership.
Yes, they do.
Next delivery has Harman pulling that fiercely to the cow corner for 4 runs. Just short of the length, and he belted that one.
It looks like he's not here to hang around, Luke Holman, doesn't he? That's the second ball he's received. It's a little short, and he just heaved it away onto the leg side.
So I've really enjoyed watching him play this summer, Luke Holman. It's definitely one for the future. Next delivery. Notice how low that
kept really low, didn't it?
He's just skidding through from Rawlins.
It did keep low.
Here he comes again, bowls. And Holman eases that one through the offside for a single. He'll keep the strike. 171 for 5 now. And I'll let Kev Hand come back in, or is he? Oh, he's going off for a walk again. Coming at the end of its over, he says.
Well, important wicket, just as you was, I mean, you must be psychic, Dave, because you said every time Middlesex have looked as if they may build a partnership or may just start to put Sussex under a little bit of pressure, they've lost a wicket. And I guess that's what scoreboard pressure does, doesn't it? Cracknell feeling he needed to, to keep the pressure on the Sussex fielders, and he skies one that also takes the catch. And Pajara decided with a new batsman in that the decision is to bring back Ari Carvelos. Who's going to bowl from the Cromwell Road end. The Tom Allsop fan club is in full voice, as you can probably hear down below us. Ari Carvelos' opening spell, which he bowled up the hill from the sea end, 6 overs, 1 for 34, but he's now coming down the hill from the Cromwell Road and bowled to Luke Holman, and Holman works this through the offside. They've taken one, there won't be 2 here because Hudson Prentice is in very quickly and prevents the second run, but Holman goes to 6 off 5 deliveries, 672 for 5. It's a day for someone to make a name for themselves, Dave. Tom Allsop certainly did that with his 189. I wonder if there's someone in this Middlesex lineup who...
Well, you've got to think that one or both of these two have got to make centuries, wouldn't you, if they're going to get somewhere near to that 400.
Sussex's highest score in one-day cricket. Crumbs, it's dark, isn't it? Carvelos running in from the Cromwell Road end, bowls, that's wide outside the... He could have let that go, it would have been wide. It could be a run out here as Rawlins throws at the stumps, he misses. But I think he could have let that go, Holden, I think would have been a wide. In the end, he's played it into the covers, Rawlins fields, and it goes down as a dot ball. 172 for 5. Where else is cricket taking you? Are you over for the whole season, Dave?
No, I'm heading back to Townsend Towers in Thailand at the weekend.
Right.
So maybe it'll be my last game of the season.
Comes Carvelos bowls and Holden drives firmly to mid-off, fielded by Pajara, and there is no run. What's the weather like in Thailand at this time of year? Are you sort of monsoon season or?
Not so much, no. I mean, September is can be pretty wet. If you're going to visit Thailand, September is a month to avoid.
Right.
Probably June is a month to avoid as well. May and June are not the best months. July and August are very good, and it's nice to go around December, January, February.
Carvelos in bold. Holden drives firmly through the covers. They've taken one. They'll look for 2 here because Hudson Prentice has got to move a long way to his left to field on the cover boundary. 2 more to Holden. He goes to 13, 174 for 5.
Yeah, around Christmas and the New Year, the temperature will get down to about, night time it'll get down to about 15 or 16 degrees, and the Thais are all going around with coats on, and the tourists have still got their short sleeves. It can get just a little bit nippy sometimes.
Do they call that their winter?
Yes, because it's Northern Hemisphere, you see.
In comes Carvelos bowls. Holden drives down the ground and across the line, and Carvelos fields up his own bowling at no run. It remains 174 for 5.
It gets a little bit, it can get a bit cold, and up north, Chiang Mai and around that way, we'll get down into single figures, and it can be quite cold up there. So I don't think you'd make a lot of money as a central heating salesman in Thailand, though, Andrew.
Carvelos on his way downhill, bowls to Holden. Holden can't time that at all. To Holden can't time that at all. He plays it into the covers. Good over this from Carvelos. He's only conceded a 3 run, just what Sussex needed. 174 for 5. Holden on 13. Holman is on 6. Middlesex needing another 226. He's only conceded a 3 run, just what Sussex needed. 174 for 5. Holden on 13. Holman is on 6. 3 and over is the pub again. I'll turn our effects pub again. I'll turn our effects microphone down a bit. Just one question though, Dave. You hear in different parts of the world that they're seeing, with climate change, changes in the climate. Are you seeing that in Thailand at all? Are you seeing, more rain, less rain, more heat, less heat, or is it pretty much as always been?
Pretty much always been over there. It's, the climate throughout the year obviously changes. Nice punch shot from Holman, just beats short extra cover. And Allsop does the fielding, much as they do another single to the score, 175 for 5.
Holden and Holman using here at the moment.
Yes, Holman's the left-hander and Holden's the left-hander.
Thank you for that helpful tip, Dave. Should hear Pajara, he's not letting things rest. I mean, he'll know that this isn't done and dusted for Sussex, and he's just adjusting his field until he's taking the slip out now. And Clark into cover.
Here's Rawlins again, left arm down the pitch comes Max Holden, plays a very nice shot. A controlled shot down to long on, just gets a single. Cultured batsman, former England under-19 skipper. And that goes for mighty.
Oh,
Belts that one out. Well, yeah. I'm not going to be too hard on the fielder out there, Adrian, because that was hit incredibly strongly towards him, and he's got something behind him, and I think it's ricocheted off his shoulder or somewhere and gone over the ropes for 4 runs. But that was very, very fiercely struck.
I've got to say, I had trouble picking that up for the time being because the light isn't great.
Rawlins bowls again. Slow ball gives that one more air. Holman wants a single. Not going to have it as Pajara does a tumbling stop at mid-wicket. He wants another game at least for Sussex. Shorter, quicker delivery and pushed to mid-wicket for a single by Luke Holman. Can hit a very hard ball, can Holman. He's on 12, Holden on strike is on 14, so it's Max Holden. Rawlins bowls to him, he's just not turning the ball away at all, Max Holden, at the moment. And he's gone for a big shot there, and he's got bat on it, and it's dribbled about a yard away from him. So I'll take my leave for me for the time being, Adrian, and get stuck into that very nice looking bit of carrot cake that's been brought in.
No, it's been good to see you, Dave, and
that's what people say, yes.
Yeah. And safe travels.
And if Sussex do win this game, good luck in the rest of the tournament.
Yeah, thank you, Dave. Good to see you, and safe travels back to Thailand. It's going to be Harry Cavados who's going to carry on down the hill from the Cromwell Road at Middlesex, still way ahead in terms of runs at the moment at this carry on down the hill from the Cromwell Road at Middlesex, still way ahead in terms of runs at the moment at this stage, but they've lost 3 more wickets than Sussex. Cavadas in bowls to Holman, who's surprised by one, a bit of extra bounce, and Holman plays it to backward point fielded by Rawlins, and there is no run. 181 for 5 here on BBC Radio Sussex, BBC Radio London. Adrian Harms, Kevin Hand, Dave Townsend, your commentary team in the gloom on the south. Lovely weather here. All summer. This is probably the gloomiest day we've had. And forced by Holman to short extra cover fielded by Coles, and there is no run. And now the effects microphone slightly is getting a bit vociferous down in the corporate.
Well, they think about Holmes to be fine, aren't they?
Carvados is on his way again. Comes into bowls to the left-handed Holman. He's in a bowls, and Holman drives firmly through the offside. There's at least a couple of runs. In fact, it's 4 runs. That was beautifully played by Luke Holman, who's now moved on to 16 off just 12 deliveries. That was a good shot. It was a little bit too much width from Harry Cavados. It was hammered away, despite the fact Finn Hudson-Prentice patrolling that offside boundary. He had no chance. The ball just raced away from him for 4 runs. 183 for 5. There's Cavados turns at that far end of the ground, and he's on his way again. Bowls, and Holman drives slightly uppishly down the ground. Pajara makes a good diving stop. He really is very good in the field, Chetishwar Pajara. We knew he was a very fine batsman, but I've commented a few times during this 50-over competition. He's a really fine fielder, very athletic, and he prevents a certain boundary nonetheless. It's another single to Luke Holman, who goes to 17. As Carvados runs towards us in the gloom. Floodlights on. Carvelos in and bowls, and Holden smashes this one away. And he's going to get, oh, brilliant. Middlesex to 187 for 5. So 6 off the over. Bujara has a little word to Harry Carvelos. The far end of the ground. And Holman is back on strike. Middlesex will be looking for a boundary here of this final ball of the over. 6 off the over so far. And Carvelos is on his way, bowls, and Holman works this one onto the offside and picks up a single, and Hudson Prentice has a far more straightforward piece of fielding to do on this occasion. That is the end of the over. 7 off of the over. Middlesex 185 for 5, Holden on 15, Holman on 18. At the end of 30 overs, Middlesex 188 for 5, Sussex at the same stage were 151 for 2. But it was from here really that Sussex really stepped on the accelerator. We've been saying 249 runs came off of the last 20 overs. But at this stage, in terms of runs scored, Middlesex are actually ahead by 38 runs. But a lot of work to do. In comes Rawlins, bowls to Luke Holman, who eases the ball down the ground and picks up a single fielded by Henry Crocombe. And it's a single.
So Don Topley chipping away about bad light in April.
Rawlins in again, bowls, hammered down the ground. That's going to be 4 runs. 1 bounce, 4 from Max Holden, smacking the ball gun barrel straight. He picks up a boundary. He goes to 19, and Middlesex to 193 for 5.
Apologies, August, which month I'm in. A week ago, far too hot all day for cricket. This week, bad light. August is great for just short form cricket. Says Don Topley. He was teasing.
In comes Rawlins. And the wicket bowls, and Holden drives to mid-wicket, fielded by Bujara. They'll need to be quick. In fact, Bujara through to the non-strikers end, and Holden was quickly through for a single. 194 for 5. I can see Leicestershire have lost a wicket at Grace Road. They're now 158 for 7. So needing 40 to win. And Rishi Patel is the man out. Aaron Lilly's still there on 60 as Rawlins comes in and bowls. That's down the leg side and signalled a wide. So 7 off this over so far. Rawlins in again, down the leg side, and they're going to be more wides as the ball rolls away out towards the far end of the ground. James Coulson is in hot pursuit. It's a couple of runs, a couple of wides. So 3 off of that delivery. And this is a good over actually as far as Middlesex are concerned, because they have 6, 8, 10 off the over and driven into the offside by Holman, and there is no run. 198 for 5. Rawlins in again over the wicket, bowls, and Holman plays into the onside and picks up a single as Bujara trots in from mid-wicket to field. 1 more ball to come in the over. 6, 7, 8, I guess 11 off the over. Rawlins in bowls and tucked away by Holden down towards deep backward square. They've taken 1. I don't think there'll be 2 here. No, there's not, because Brad Curry is in very quickly and feels it's the end of Delray Rawlins over. So the end of the 31st over. And Middlesex are halfway to their total there. 200 for 5. 19 overs remaining. Holden on 21, Holman on 20. Middlesex needing to score at 10.6 and over if they're going to win this game. So just a little reminder that Sussex scored 249 off the last 20. There was some pretty ragged Middlesex bowling, but nonetheless, it's a pitch, looks a good pitch. We've had 600 runs, and there could well be more to come.
Yeah, and Middlesex are down. So the last throws, aren't they now? Only Anderson to come. So it's really, again, it's all about partnerships, and that's what Middlesex weren't quite able to get that big partnership today that they have across the group. It's not done just yet. How are they going in the others? Warwickshire 199 for 5. Oh, they're on their way, aren't they? 68 from the last 9.1 with 5 wickets standing. So it's Crocombe bowls, and that's carved by Holden opening up, looking to carve it down the ground, straight in the mid-off, but quite get all of it, just a single to Pajara. So Leicestershire won 60 for 8, needing 38 from 13 overs with 2 wickets left.
I'm just trying to see who's out for.
Nottinghamshire have beaten Surrey by 8 wickets, so yeah, Warwickshire won 99 for 5. Brooks has gone for 51. Full ball to Crocombe. Oh, it's bumped back! Holman kicks away at the dirt. Well, you'd have thought it was a bump ball back to him, but it was a catch, dolly back. Holman just lifts a simple one back to Crocombe. Caught and ball maybe just stopped in the pitch and slightly the way he played it. He's gone for 20. Joe 1 for 6. Martin Anderson will come out at 8, and he and Holden and Middlesex's last hope of something quite special here in the back 20 overs of this list day match.
Well, good bowling change by Cheshire. Pajara's bowling change have worked today. James Poles came on and picked up a wicket in his first over, and then Henry Crocombe back into the attack, picking up a wicket. And he's the sort of player Holman who needs to come off in this sort of a game, isn't it? He just reeled the ball back, and Henry Crocombe took a straightforward catch.
Yep, just a dolly back to the bowler. So out comes Anderson. Had a tough day with the ball. It was nearly 100 runs conceded off his 10 overs. Harris can hit them as well. Still to come for Middlesex, but yeah, of the recognised batters, Anderson is certainly one, an all-rounder, but recognised batter. He's played in games almost solely as a batter before. Kent 191 for 6, requiring another 105 from 16.5. 295 for 9.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if nothing else, it's very easy to say it's been excellent cricket when Sussex have clearly done well in this competition, so it's easy for me to say that, but there have been some really good games, even games that Sussex lost. The game at Warwickshire was as good a game of 50 over cricket, or as good a game of cricket as you could expect to see. There's some close finishes, some good games, some terrific performances. So let's hope it hasn't gone unnoticed in the corridors of power, because it's been really, really good.
So Anderson, slip in place, Crocombe runs in, bowls, and this is driven away to extra cover, no run. I
thought for a moment that would have carried to James Coles in the cover. So Dave and I got caught up by one of those early on, actually, that I called it as a catch, and Dave, he laughed and said, actually I thought it was a catch as well, but I went a bit early, and yeah, I was.
Oh, you've resisted your piece of cake so far, Adrian. It's Crocombe past the umpire. Bowls, push back and it's down. It was good, that cake, wasn't it?
I actually had 2 pieces in my lunch.
Oh, you've already been in on it? Oh, I see. We better give that back to the press boys then.
Yeah.
Maybe they haven't eaten.
Yeah.
No, leave it alone, DT. Let's go back to the press box.
Oh no, Dave's very welcome to have it.
He was thinking about fish and chips on the way home and said, oh, I'm sure you've seen this pizza, you won't want fish and chips later. Anderson turns this one through mid-wicket for a single to a 3 for 6. Holden on strike on 22. So yeah, Middlesex, the DLS is 302. Middlesex are 202 for 6.
They need a couple of really big overs here, don't they, Middlesex, from somewhere.
But that's the thing, actually, you know, here's Crocombe. Bowls, and Holden runs this one away down to deep third. Don't think for a minute that Max Holden's given up on this. T20 opener. Lost the list day record to Stephen Eskenazi this year. Eskenazi's 182, and Crocombe's over in 3 off it in the wicket of Holman, caught and bowls. 3 for 6, so 18 remain, and 198 required off them.
And you're listening to live cricket on the BBC, BBC Radio Sussex, BBC Radio London. Adrian Harms, Kevin Hand, Dave Townsend here on what's been a very gloomy day down here on the coast. I don't think it's going to change anytime soon either. The floodlights have been on since 11 o'clock when we started this morning. Middlesex winning the toss, for those of you just joining us, deciding to bowl. Sussex scoring 400 for 4, with Tom Alsop top scoring 189 not out, and Chichester Pajara 132. As in comes Delray Rawlins to bowl, two backs. Holden, who's down the wicket, and he's bowled! And Holden goes dancing down the wicket. He loses his leg stump, and with it could well be Middlesex's chances of getting anywhere near this 400 to win. 203 for 7. Holden is on his way for 23. Well, scoreboard pressure does an awful lot. 11 and over. Middlesex will need to score at. And Holden is on his way.
Yeah, we looked down that card. Carvelas 1 for 44 off 8, Curry 1 for 34 off 6, Crocombe 1 for 33 off 6, Hudson Prentice 1 for 17 off 4. Now, Middlesex's best economy came from their spinner, Tilan Walaluita. Then Rawlins 1 for 45 off 6. Right, he's got a wicket now, 2 for 45 off 6.1. Coles 1 for 23 off 2. The reason why I thought Middlesex could have just calmed it down a little bit more to begin with is where they really wanted to put the pressure on was Rawlins and Coles, having not played Archie Lenham in this game. See what we could do against those two. Now they're going at the kind of rates that Middlesex wanted, 7.5 Rawlins and Coles, whereas those are the ones that Middlesex were able to slow down. Curry bowled really well, didn't he? He got that movement that nobody else has got today, really. Hudson Prentice obviously bowled as well, 1 for 17 from 4, bowled very well. But once they were slightly behind on the wickets, Middlesex, i.e. you lose those couple early, then all of a sudden you've always got an eye over his shoulder, haven't you? And it's building pressure, whereas they never allowed the pressure to build on the Sussex bowlers, which I think keeping wickets in hand would have done so. But look, it's an easy game from here, isn't it? They gambled, they went with Cracknell at 3, and they've lost the openers early. Here comes Max Harris now to join Anderson, so it's all eyes on Edgbaston for Middlesex now. Will Warwickshire chase those runs? Inquiry from John Foote. Good to hear from you, John, on Twitter. If Leicestershire and Warwickshire lose, does it come down to run rate or something? So we need not to collapse here. It's fine. Middlesex, once they were past 128 in this innings. It's you, isn't it?
We lost count. Driven into the covers by Max Harris. Rawlins in again, bowls, and Harris drives down the ground and picks up a single. Being fielded by Ari Carvelos, who comes in to complete the fielding.
Yeah, once Middlesex were past 128, their net run rate was never going to fall below an amount that Leicestershire or Gloucestershire or Warwickshire could finish above them in. Well, Warwickshire out because they went on 10, but in defeat. But yeah, Nottinghamshire have taken second.
Rawlins in bowl, that's wide of the off stump. I think that came out the foothold. Do you know?
I think he cut it onto the foot of the keeper, and it bounced up over the slip. That's going to be runs. He cut it down, but did it bounce or did it just come up off the keeper's foot? Because Slip then tried to take the catch, and there was no and ah from the crowd, but maybe it was into the foot and the ground. The foot of the keeper and the ground.
Rawlins in his 7th over. In again bowls. Pulled out on the leg side, but only as far as deep mid with trotted by Ali Orr. Gets in the throw. One more to the total. 207 for 7. So just the 4 runs off this over so far. Harris surveys that leg side boundary. Rawlins just composes himself. And is in bowls. Harris will swing and a miss outside the off stump. Goes through to Ollie Carter. End of the over, just the 4 runs off of it. 207 for 7. Harris on 1. Anderson is on 4. Delray Rawlins 2 for 49, I think that is, in his 7 overs. But importantly, those wickets, and he picked up an important wicket in that over. Max Holden, who was out for 23.
It's tight for Leicestershire, 169 for 8.
Wow.
Barnes 7, Hendricks 3. They require 29 more runs with 2 wickets standing. The overs have got plenty, 11. Warwickshire are doing it though. Warwickshire 204. 211 for 5 now, so they require 56 runs with 5 wickets standing, 7 overs to go. And might still...
That's not a gimme, is it?
Not a gimme, but you'd expect. Rose is still there on 75 unbeaten. Smith with him on 1 from 2. Brooks has gone for 51. Here is Coles, left arm round. Bowls. This is put away easily by Anderson for 4.
Oh, nice sticky shot. It was too wide from James Cole, wasn't it? And there was silence around the ground as he clubbed that one. There's only Ali Orr who's patrolling that offside boundary. And once it's past the infield, the ball raced away.
Coles, who picked up the wicket of Milan, caught Rawlings. He's in again. And down the track comes Anderson, hits him straight to the mid-on, 4 more. Oh, yeah, mid-on got fingertips to it. It's a long off, was keeping interested for a moment, but Anderson moves to 12. 215 for 7, and yeah, it's interesting. Again, it really alarmed me. If you remember, almost midway through the Sussex innings, when I said, "You what? Lenham's not playing," but Middlesex not able to get after these spinners as they would have hoped. Too many wickets gone, too early, and never that big partnership, which they've so often had from the top to build the pressure. Anderson tickles one. Packer square on the leg side for a single, 216 for 7. The wide rate still hovering just over 11, but it's the wickets column. It's absolutely killing Middlesex at this stage. Again, you talk about 100 off the last 10 overs or at least 100 off the last 10 overs now in list days. This ball's dragged down to long on, a single more. But equally, you talk about 100 off the overs 30 to 40, i.e. the end of power play 2. Teams really go hard 30 to 40, as Sussex did. Keep the wickets in hand, go hard at that 30 to 40 over mark, and then you look for 100 again off the back. 10. Coles gives it a bit of flight, Anderson cuts him away, single taken. Pujara comes around a cover. 218 for 7. Another single. Harris this time, pushing out to deep cover. Oh, slight misfield to come back for the second.
Yes, they do.
And get back. So
12 off the over.
13 in the end, is it?
Yes, I'm sorry, 13 off the over. Yeah.
220 for 7, so they need another 181 of 16 overs.
Yeah, I mean it's a huge.
Well, it's not going to happen, is it? But it's the wickets column again that really.
Yeah. So, Joe Ray Rawlings, the Sussex are rattling through their overs here. The cut-off time is actually 10 to 7. I don't think we're going to need that much time to bowl these remaining overs. In comes Rawlings, bowls, Anderson drives down the ground. Is he going to be caught at long off? No, he's not. Falls short of Harry Carvelas, and all Carvelas do is to palm the ball over the ropes. He was a little slow to pick that up, I think, Harry Carvelas. Nonetheless, it's a 4. Anderson goes to 18. 224 for 7. Yes, and Sussex edging closer to victory here at the county ground. They made 400 for 4 when they batted first in their 50 overs. That's the highest score Sussex have ever made in a one-day match, led by Tom Alsop, who batted magnificently. He made 189 not out. Cheshire Pujara 132. Those two sharing a partnership, Sean, of 240 for the third wicket. In reply, Middlesex never really in the hunt. Joe Cracknell batted nicely for 71, but they're now 224 for 7, still needing 177 to win in 16 overs. They need to score at over at 11 and over, so Sussex looking, well, a good bet here to make their way into the semi-finals of this competition. Earlier on today, though, Surrey beaten convincingly by Nottinghamshire, bowled out for 181, not reaching their target for the loss of just 2 wickets. Nice one, much obliged. Thanks, Sean. Rawlings in again, bowls, and oh, that turned. And Harris with a swing and a miss outside the off stump through to Ollie Carter. And there is no run. If they could turn off the feed in the studio, that would be great, as in comes Rawlings. Bowls, played into the onside by the total to 226 for 7. Comes Rawlings. Again, bowls, and hammered down the ground by Anderson. It's just a single.
definitely.